Hey there friends, welcome back to another video. So in today's lesson, we're going to continue to practice our short O words. We're going to be looking at some of the CVC words we found in our poem yesterday. So if you haven't watched that yet, go back and take a look first. I'll link it below. And we are going to be looking at some nonsense words as well. So our seesaw activity today is going to involve sorting some words by whether they're real or whether they're nonsense. So you're going to want to pay careful attention to how we sound those words out so you know how to mark them in your activity. So let's get started. So today's short O, real versus nonsense words, and this is all based around the poem we read yesterday, Dot the Fox, right? So we think about the word dot, d-ah-t, dot. We hear that ah sound, the short O sound, in the middle of dot. We also hear the sound ah in the middle of fox, f-ox, fox. So we're going to be looking at more words like that today. And before we do, let's kind of go over what our CVC words are. So CVC words are words that we can sound out. That CVC stands for consonant, vowel, consonant. These words have 3 letters and 3 sounds. The middle sound is always going to be your vowel sound, and it's always going to be short. So since our phonics focus this week is O, the short vowel sound is going to be ah in all of these words. Ah, 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 as in octopus, right? So let's take a look at this example word together. This word is spelled P-O-T. Now P is a consonant, O is a vowel, and T is another consonant. If I were to sound this word out, I would say p. Ah-t. What CVC word am I making with these sounds? P-ah-t. Pot. Very good. So we have the word pot, p-ah-t. That is a CVC word with that short vowel sound ah. Sometimes we can make words that aren't even real. We call these nonsense CVC words. They're words that have a consonant vowel consonant, like we have here F-O-M. But they wouldn't make a real word if we put those sounds together. However, we can still practice blending those sounds together, and it's such good practice for our brains to listen to those sounds and try blending them without relying on knowing the word at the end. So let's take a look at this word here. We have F, which is a consonant, O, which is a vowel, and M, which is another consonant. If I were to sound this word out, I would sound like this. F-ah-m. What nonsense word am I making with those sounds? F-ah-m. Fom. Very good. Now there's no such thing as a fom. We know that. But this is a great way to practice blending our sounds, especially today. So at the end of this lesson, you're going to be heading over to Seesaw and you're going to be sounding out some words like this on your own. So if you sound out a word and it doesn't make sense, it doesn't sound like a real word, you're going to need to be able to identify that so you can decide whether to mark it or not. But before we get too far into things, let's watch our CVC letter O video and practice some of our CVC words that we know.
CVC words, I know what they are. Consonant, vowel, consonant, 3 letters, that's for sure. When we say each letter, shake your hips. 1, 2, 3. When we say their sounds, stretch your arms left to right with me. When we say the word, reach up high and celebrate. H-O-T. H-A-T. Hot. Hot. H-O-T. Hot. D-O-T. D-A-T. Dot. Dot. D-O-T. Dot. J-O-B. J-A-B. Job. Job. J-O-B. Job. M-O-P. M-A-P. Mop. Mop. M-O-P. Mop. Let's do some more CVC words. P-O-P. P-A-P. Pop. Pop. P-O-P. Pop. B-O-X. B-A-X. Box. Box. B-O-X. Box. C-V-C words, I know what they are. Consonant, vowel, consonant. 3 letters, that's for sure. CVC Words. Consonant, vowel, consonant. CVC Words.
Alrighty, so now that we've kind of heard our video, let's talk about some of the words we found in our poem yesterday. So this is a little game called Missing Letters. What we're going to be doing here is we are going to be figuring out what letters are missing in the word based off of the picture. And remember, these are all words we found in the poem yesterday. So these are all words we highlighted. You may have written them in your activity. And now we're going to kind of sound them out and listen for those missing letters. After we've done that, we're going to change one letter in the word to make it a nonsense word. So this is really going to help us practice deciding whether a word is a real word or a nonsense word. So let's start here with our frog. We can see that there are 4 letters in frog. We have blank, R, blank, blank. So since they've given us our second letter here, that's our second sound, we can assume that that's going to be correct. We're going to sound it out just to be sure though. The sounds I hear in frog are f, g. So the second sound I heard was which I know is made by the letter R, so we know that that's correct and good. We are spelling the right word. Let's go back to the first sound then. Friends, what is the first sound you hear in the word frog? Very good. The first sound is f, and we know that F says f. So we're going to write down F in our first blank. Now let's go to our vowel sound. F, g. The vowel sound I heard in frog was ah. And friends, what letter says ah? That's exactly right. O says ah. That's our phonics focus for this whole week, isn't it? So far we have F-R-O or ah. So what's our last sound then? What is the last sound we hear in frog? Very good. The last sound is G. We know that the letter G says G, so we're going to write down G in our last blank. This is the word frog. It's spelled F-R-O-G, and we would sound it out f-r-a-g, frog. Wonderful, friends. Now, let's change this into a nonsense word. So as you can see, our picture went away since we don't have a picture to go with something that's not real. And we changed one letter. That letter marked in red is going to be the one that changed. So we know that this is no longer a real word. So let's sound it out. We used to have an F in our first letter space there. It's now changed to a T. So let's sound this word out together. T-r-a-g. What nonsense word would I make with these sounds? T-r-a-g. Trog. Very good. So this one actually rhymes with frog, right? They have the same middle and ending sound. But we changed that beginning sound to a T and made the word trog. A nonsense word, but great practice for our blending. Let's do another one. This is a dot. Dot. They've given us our last letter, which is T, and we can see that there are 3 letters in this word. We're going to hear 3 sounds as well. So let's start with our first sound. What is the first sound we hear in dot? Very good. The first sound in dot is D. We know that the letter D says D, so we're going to write D in that space. Now let's go to our middle sound. What is the middle sound in the word dot? Very good. The middle sound is ah. And I know that because I tapped out the word d-ah-t, dot. And the second or the middle sound that I said was ah. Now that is our phonics focus this week, friends. We know it is the letter O. O says ah. So our word altogether is spelled D-O-T and pronounced d-ah-t, dot. Wonderful. Now let's turn it into a nonsense word. We can see we're going to change our T to an F. So we're going to change the last sound T to the sound F. Now if we sound out our word, it'll sound like this. D-A-F. What nonsense word would I make with those sounds? D-A-F. Doff. Very good. So we changed our T to a F. And now we have the nonsense word doff. Good blending, friends. Let's do some more. This is a picture of a fox. Fox. We can see that there are 3 letters in this word. There are going to be 3 sounds as well. And they've given us our middle letter or our middle sound here. So we see that there's an O in the vowel space, so it's going to be saying aw. So let's start with figuring out our first sound. Friends, what is the first sound you hear in the word fox? Very good. The first sound is f, right? Ox, fox. That first sound is f, and it's made by the letter F. Good. Now we already have our vowel sound, which is awesome. So we can go right to that last sound. F, ox. The last sound I hear in fox is x. What letter says x? Very good. That letter is X. We know that X says x. So our word altogether is fox. It is spelled F-O-X and pronounced f-ox, fox. Wonderful. Let's make it nonsense. Now we changed our first letter F into a Y. So our first sound changed from f to y. If I were to sound out this nonsense word, it would sound like this. Y-ox. What nonsense word would I be making with these sounds? Y-ox. Yucks. Very good. Good blending, friends. So even though it doesn't sound like a real word, we can still blend those sounds together. This is a picture of a log. Log. Now we can see that there are 3 letters here. There's going to be 3 sounds in this CVC word. They've given us our final letter G. So we need to figure out our first letter and our middle letter. What is the first sound you hear in the word log? Very good. That first sound is oo, right? We tap out the word. Oo-ah-g, log. And the first sound that we said was oo. Now we know that L says oo, so we're going to write L in that first blank. How about our middle sound then, friends? What is the middle sound we hear in log? Good, the middle sound is ah, right? Oo-ah-g. That's the second or the middle sound that we said. And what letter says ah? Very good. It's our phonics focus O. So the word log is spelled L-O-G and pronounced O-A-G, log. Let's make it nonsense. We changed our ending sound G to the sound Z. What new nonsense word did we make with these sounds? O-A-Z. Good. This word would be laws. Laws. Good. Now, we can think of laws as something that we follow, as rules, but that's spelled L-A-W-S. So this would be spelled incorrectly, which makes it a nonsense word. Great job, friends. This is a picture of a frog hopping. So we're going to spell the word hop. There are 3 letters and 3 sounds in this word. They've given us our final letter P, or the final sound P. So we need to figure out our first and our middle letters. What is the first sound you hear in the word hop? The first sound I hear in hop is h. I know that the letter H says h, so I'm going to write an H in my first blank. What is the middle sound in the word hop? Very good. The middle sound in hop is ah. We can tap out our word, ah-p, hop. We can hear that ah is that second or middle sound, and we know that O says ah, so we're going to write O in our second blank. The word hop then is spelled H-O-P, and we can sound it out, h-ah-p, hop. If we were to make this a nonsense word, friends, we could change our first sound h to the sound qu. Now, as you can see, we've put 2 letters in the place of 1, and that is because Q and U are buddy letters. They do everything together. They're best friends. So if you think back to our lesson on Q, you'll remember that Q and U are always stuck together. If we add the letter Q, we also have to add U. So although we added 2 letters, we're only adding 1 sound, meaning that if I sounded out this nonsense word, it would sound like this. Qu, a, p. What nonsense word am I making with those sounds? Qu, a, p. Quap. Very good. Now there's no such thing as a quap, but it's a wonderful chance for us to blend. We are almost finished, friends. Hang in there. This is a picture of hot. Hot. That emoji there looks pretty hot. You can see the sweat running down his face. So they've given us our middle letter O, which is saying the sound ah. So all we need to do is come up with the beginning and the last letter. The first sound I hear in hot is h. Friends, what letter says h? H. Very good. So far we have h, ah, or H-O, and we need to figure out that last sound. What is the last sound you hear in hot? Good, that last sound is t, right? We can hear that if we tap it out. H, ah, t. The last sound I just said was t. And since I know that T says t I'll write T in my final blank. The word hot then is spelled H-O-T, and we can sound it out, h-a-t, hot. Now let's make it a nonsense word. If I change my final letter T to an L, I've now changed my final sound from T to L. If I sounded out this nonsense word, it would sound like this. H-a-l. What nonsense word am I making with those sounds? H-a-l. Hall. Very good. Now, we can think of a hall, right? H-A-L-L. Hall is something you walk in. But again, this would be a nonsense word because we're just kind of changing one letter and making it up as we go. We're also not spelling anything correctly. All right, friends, so your code word today is and, A-N-D. If I were to use this word in a sentence, I might say, I'm going to the store and I'm going to get groceries. And, A-N-D. So when you get to your Seesaw activity, friends, you're going to want to write that code word and right here at the bottom. So in this red box where you see it says code word, you're going to write A-N-D, and. And then you're going to be highlighting some of our real words here. So if we look up at our directions, it says, read the short O words below. Color the boxes that have real words in them. Now, as you can see, I started with my highlighter tool. It's very important to use the highlighter tool so that I can still see the words underneath. I did the first one for you. Our first word here says H-O-T. I sounded it out. H-A-T. Blended my sounds and made the word hot, realized it was a real word, and used my highlighter to color it. Your job then is to do the same thing with the remaining words. So you're going to sound out the word, look at the letters, think about the sounds, and blend them together. If it makes a real word, you're going to take your highlighter and you're going to color it. If it makes a nonsense word, you're going to leave it blank. You don't have to do anything with it. So you're going to color all the real words, and then you're going to count up how many you colored and write that number here at the bottom. Okay? All right, friends, so that is all you have to do today. Just color some of our real words and count them up as well. Make sure you write that code word so I know you watched the video. Have an awesome rest of your day. Rock on, my superstars, and I will catch you all next time.